Neyman, also called the moderation form or the way of the Rancor, is the sixth traditional lightsaber form. In everyday parlance, it is known as the diplomat's form, for it is the style preferred by Jedi consulars who have not chosen to make a career out of combat. Hello, YouTube! This is Jensare delivering the latest in his series of Nerd Rage rants about lightsaber combat. This time around, I will be describing what is arguably the most underrated lightsaber style, Neyman. Neyman was created by more conservative Jedi Masters who were kinda turned off by the aggression of Ataru and Xi'an, and decided to devise a style more in keeping with the Jedi ideal of moderation over power. And there is the core idea behind Neyman: all things in moderation. The Neyman lightsaber form was developed from the classical Neyman and Jarkai dual-blade fencing forms, but was primarily a hybrid of forms 1 through 5, but when you get right down to it, its pure root was Sarisu. In keeping with the idea of moderation, Neyman was a jack-of-all-trades style, banking itself on general versatility rather than specialization. Neyman was designed to be easily learned, requiring only occasional practice so that adherents could instead devote themselves to alternative pursuits while maintaining a reasonable level of combat ability. Accordingly, Neyman's focus on blade work was somewhat relaxed. To compensate for this, Neyman included training in incorporating force-based attacks into its attack sequences. Proper management of these tools can allow an adept Neyman practitioner to take control of and eliminate an entire group of enemies, though this does call for some practice. Also, as Neyman was developed from two dual-blade fighting styles, classical Neyman and Jarkai, Form 6 provides a pretty good foundation for duelists looking to practice with dual blades. Neyman dual blade training was based around the use of a lightsaber short sword, the Shoto, in the offhand, as a full-length blade is harder to handle and doesn't provide the same range of motion. Here are Neyman's moves, maneuvers, and stances. The opening stance of the Neyman form was wide and open, with the blade held out from the body in a one-handed grip angled upwards and back, while the offhand was folded across the chest. The feet were evenly spaced. Another Neyman stance featured the blade held at head height in a two-handed grip, angled upwards and slightly in, with the dominant foot placed forwards. A third position was a two-handed low guard, with the hilt held at waist height in both hands, blade held back and to the side, angled downwards, with the feet closely spaced. The draw closer, basically grabbing someone with the force and pulling them onto your blade. The pushing slash, cutting a guy with your lightsaber, then slamming them with a force push. Statistical breakdown. As a jack-of-all-trades style, Neyman has no weaknesses, but it doesn't have any strengths either. You're not vulnerable in any area, but you have no specializations that you can bank yourself on. You're only moderately fast, moderately strong, moderately agile, moderately precise. There is no very or overwhelmingly in any area. You're no master. You're just competent. Unless, of course, you really apply yourself and work hard to be great, in which case, you are a master of everything. And the Neyman poster boy is Exar Kun, trained by famed Jedi Battlemaster Vodo Siosk Boss. Exar Kun was one of the finest duelists of his age, and even his master acknowledged that in terms of raw skill, Kun was his finest pupil. Kun even managed to defeat his master in a sparring match, though he was forced to utilize dual blades to do so, indicating his skill in Neyman's dual-bladed applications. However, Kun's arrogance and unchecked anger led him to completely ignore all of Neyman's ideas of moderation over power, and he instead fought with vicious fury, which only made him that much more dangerous. As a Sith Lord, Exar Kun would construct and wield one of the earliest double-bladed lightsabers. The weapon he constructed was of sophisticated design, and was only as long as a standard lightsaber hilt, which made it that much more difficult to wield. Kun no doubt found Neyman's dual weapon training useful in learning how to wield this unusual armament, and he took full advantage of his opponent's complete lack of any familiarity with this weapon. What's more, he bolstered this with the extremely difficult practice of constantly adjusting his lightsaber settings during combat, changing the blade length and the power levels to keep his opponents on their toes. In his heyday, Exar Kun was never defeated in a lightsaber duel, and only counted his apprentice Ulic Qel-Droma as his martial equal. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is Jensare signing off.